So I've gotten this request to do this Dragon Ball fan manga that crosses over with Sonic again and again and again. Despite the spamming nature of all these comments, I have to give it to this guy for being so passionate and seeing something there that maybe somebody else had not seen. So with his passion in mind, I started delving myself deeper into the comics of Sonic Z. And that story is pretty interesting. I will cover that at some point later down the line. The reason I'm making this video is because the combination of Dragon Ball and Sonic really got me interested in the history of Sonic and its influences from Dragon Ball. And obviously you can see right here that there is a form called Super Sonic, looks exactly like Super Saiyan. I was more interested to see that there was also a form called Hyper Sonic, and it looks like Ultra Instinct, and this came out far before Ultra Instinct was a thing. So Akira Toriyama, I'm watching you. But there is one franchise that really solidified the fact that Sonic really takes a lot from Dragon Ball and what it would look like if they just went full throttle with taking as much as they could from classic Toonami Day Dragon Ball Z. So, do you guys remember Super Mario Bros. Z?
Know your place, worm. Prepare yourself. Damn Saiyan.
So at the time of YouTube's infancy, where I really started watching YouTube videos, I was actually about 18, 17 or 18, around that age range. And before I had even started delving really into YouTube, like back then you only really used it to watch like weird, random, funny videos, I used to go on this website called Newgrounds, which to my shock and awe is still around. It's still fully functioning, it's still active, but there is a series on there that I used to watch. I caught a few first episodes of it and then found the rest of them on YouTube, and that is Super Mario Bros. Z. Now, this series started out in 2006, well before I started delving into Newgrounds. 2006, I was 16 and really wasn't interested in the internet that much. I was more interested in hanging out with friends, chasing girls, all that stuff. But once I found YouTube, I really never looked back, because that is the source of where I started watching the majority of funny videos and clips, and this is where I actually started watching some of the classics of the early YouTube golden age. I mean, I used to watch Charlie the Unicorn. Anybody remember that? If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description below. It's really funny and extremely ridiculous, but that's sort of what early YouTube was. And I used to also watch another one that was one of my favorites. I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember exactly if this was on Newgrounds or not, if that's where I saw it first, but I do remember showing it to everybody and their mother on YouTube, and that is The Greatest Showdown in History. This one was addicting. Just the song alone, we used to sing this song in school and laugh at how many warriors were included and how ridiculous some of them were. They were extremely random, but at the end of the video, it was shown that Chuck Norris was the greatest warrior in history, and that was my first introduction to Chuck Norris, because I had no idea who he was at the time, and we just thought it was so funny. And that's kind of the birth of the Chuck Norris jokes, that he can kind of beat up everybody and all that. And I gotta say, it was a simpler time in YouTube, it was a simpler time on the internet, but the epitome of what I remember from those days is definitely Super Mario Bros. Z.
It's me, Mario!
Since I used to be on Newgrounds just looking through videos randomly, I accidentally found this series because I saw the Giant Z on it, and I used to love Mario Bros. I used to play Sunshine all the time. I used to play Smash Bros with my friends, so definitely got hooked on the fact that it was a Mario Bros video, and then the Giant Z at the end had me intrigued because at the time I was still a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z. If there was ever one constant in my life that I was always obsessed about, that I always loved, and this is probably the same for many of you, it was Dragon Ball Z, well after it had stopped airing on Toonami. So what is Super Mario Bros. Z? For one thing, you have to watch this if you have not seen this already. I'm going to leave a link to the playlist where you can watch all the episodes and check this out, because this, if you're a Z fan or if you're a Dragon Ball fan in general, you're gonna love this. The main setup is that Mario and Luigi are having a Mario Kart race with Waluigi and Wario, and it gets interrupted by Bowser, who has a Dragon Ball Z style fight with Mario. And anybody who knows Dragon Ball Z can immediately tell, oh, that's where the Z in the show comes from. But it gets even better than that. The fight gets stopped by Sonic and Shadow, who use the machine to teleport into the Marioverse. And that is the end of Bowser up to this point. Now, why are Sonic and Shadow there? Well, earlier in the episode, we saw a Chaos Emerald being taken by Mecha Sonic, who had just landed in the Marioverse in a very Dragon Ball Z style opening. I mean, listen to this. That's one thing about this show, it's that it heavily took the sound effects from Dragon Ball Z, and especially Bruce Faulconer's score on several songs that were playing during the US broadcast of Dragon Ball Z. So if you're not familiar with Bruce Faulconer, well, he is the guy who orchestrated the entire soundtrack to Dragon Ball Z. A lot of your favorite songs from that era come from him. So the backstory on why Sonic and Shadow are in the Marioverse is this. The evil Dr. Eggman had created Mecha Sonic through trial and error by complete accident. He was creating Mecha Sonics, Robot Sonics to fight Sonic because Sonic kept foiling his evil plans. And eventually one of the Sonics decided to fuse with the rest of the broken down, failed Sonics, and that created Mecha Sonic. And Mecha Sonic destroyed evil Eggman's base. The base crashed down on Sonic's world of Mobius, destroying everything, creating basically a mini ice age because all the dust clouds and everything blocked out the sun. Mecha Sonic survived and was hunting down the Chaos Emeralds and ended up killing all of Sonic's friends to try to get them. Sonic fought Mecha Sonic to seemingly the end, like he was at his limit, and Mecha Sonic succeeded in getting the Chaos Emeralds, but before he could use their power to make himself even stronger, Shadow used his power of Chaos Control and teleported the Emeralds to the Marioverse, and that basically is where the story begins. That's the reason that Mecha Sonic, the Chaos Emeralds, Shadow, and Sonic are in the Marioverse. And throughout the entire series, basically it's an adventure that spans all of the Marioverse to hunt down the Chaos Emeralds and take them away from Mecha Sonic so he does not complete his evil plan of becoming even more powerful. And throughout the way, their plans get foiled by a lot of different characters from Mario's video games, RPGs, different characters that had more speaking roles in those games, because in this web series, Sonic and Shadow and other characters that usually speak in the respective franchises, they're really the only ones that really have speaking roles in the web series. Mario and Luigi don't really talk, they just kind of say their name over and over again while emoting, but that doesn't take away from their character development or anything like that. And I think it would be pretty strange if they started talking and having full dialogue with the rest of the characters, but I think it's really funny that they really emote very well. And one of my favorite moments of this emoting is where Luigi's scared to face off against Bowser, and then this interaction happens.
Luigi! Oh no! Luigi! Oh! Luigi! Oh! Luigi! Oh! Luigi!
This show has a lot of different gags and well-placed jokes that really land if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you're a fan of Mario, and you're a fan of Sonic. Now again, I told you my love for Mario and Dragon Ball Z. As far as Sonic, I've played some of the games as I was growing up, especially on GameCube, but I really didn't have too much knowledge of what the Sonic universe entailed because I didn't watch any of the shows or anything like that. I basically just played the video game, so I was kind of new to Sonic, but at the same time, I respected the Hedgehog, I respected the lore, and of course, I fell in love with Sonic's version of Vegeta. Basically, what we have here is Sonic is Goku, and Shadow is Vegeta. Shadow even acts like Vegeta a lot. And you can see their different moves, their different fighting abilities, their different fighting skills, and Shadow's chaos control power is just so badass. He's my favorite character from Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's probably the best character in this web series. Now each episode is about 10 to 15 minutes long until you get toward the end where some of them are 30 minutes long, one of them is an hour long, and there is one episode in particular for those of you guys who maybe just want to watch one episode and see exactly what is the best of this series, and that is episode 6, where they are destroying Yoshi's Island. And in this episode, they're still chasing that Chaos Emeralds, but there are several different characters fighting off on this island, destroying the entire island. The island is vanishing, and all the fights are interwoven, organic, and they overlap onto each other. It's just seamless fun, and it's something that really you don't see in a lot of shows, really. Even in anime shows, there's not just like one whole episode of them fighting unless it's the climax of the series, and this definitely was not the climax, but this definitely showed us what is the best of the series. And that's what I like about this, with Alvin Earthworm, which is the creator of this series, working on it from 2006 all the way up to probably 2010, around 2010, 2012. He improved on the series a lot. The sprite animations got better, the dialogue got better, all leading to the very end of the series where we even get some custom art to show detailed facial expressions, and then we get Fire Sonic, which is probably the best transformation in the series. The original series ended without much fanfare. It was really slowing down episodes. Obviously, there are things going on in the creator's life. Maybe he couldn't do it anymore. Maybe he didn't want to do it anymore, and the series slowly shut down until it was never brought up again. It was inconclusive and did not finish. Now, a couple years ago, in 2015, the creator, now going by his real name, Mark Haynes, and I'm going to leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, plus the first rebooted video of this series, he reached out, crowdfunded, and got one episode rebooted. He wanted to remake the series, and unfortunately, we only have gotten one since 2015, the first episode, which was 30 minutes long, so it probably encompasses a few episodes of the original series. But after watching it, it definitely adds a lot of brand new special effects. The story is slightly different. Instead of a Mario Kart race, they're actually playing Super Smash Bros. At the very beginning. Essentially what that means is that they're on a fighting stage, like a Budokai stage, and it's very much Dragon Ball. He's fighting Mario against Wario, and Luigi's fighting against Waluigi, and then the fight gets interrupted again, similar to how the original series did it, but there are different upgrades to the episode, similar to how at the end it was improving. You can see a lot of those improvements here, especially the brand new art that was created specifically for the facial expressions and such, and of course the fight scenes are vastly improved as well. So I would support that video if you want to see more of this rebooted series, because I could definitely see myself watching this going into 2020. But I want to thank all of you guys for offering different suggestions for different mangas and fan mangas that I should cover, because without those suggestions, I would have never remembered Super Mario Bros. Z. This is Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Luigi!
Let's go!
Oh no! Luigi! 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 Luigi!